plays it in. The header finds the net. And Aberdeen are back in the match once more. Alex McLeish. Alex McLeish gives Aberdeen a chance.
Stay with you like a lover's voice across the mountainside. Stay alive.
Yes, this evening we're delighted to welcome Alex McLeish to the programme. Alex, we're delighted that you could come over and join us. First of all, I want to ask you a little bit about the Irish job, because was it a possibility that there was an interest there, or you were on a short list?
Yeah, for some reason I was on a list. A Dublin journalist phoned me and asked me if I would be interested if I was approached. At that time, however, I was more keen in getting back into club football, and I said that to Scotland at the time as well when Gordon Strachan took the job. But you never know. If I'd been asked the question, sometimes it was different, and that was the same when I was asked the question for the Scotland job, because I thought, no, I'm maybe a bit young to go into the international scene at the moment. But then when Scotland came and asked me, I couldn't refuse it. So you never know.
And what about your Scotland career? Because in 2007, you had a pretty decent run at the Euro campaign, and then you left to go to Birmingham. Do you have any regrets about making that decision?
No, I don't ever want to regret anything. You know, I look back in my life or my career. You make decisions for the right reasons. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Leaving the Scotland job was an ambition to coach and manage in the English Premier League, and that job came along. I knew that I was going to be, you know, going to games as a professional supporter, as the Scotland boss for the next 6 months, and playing an odd friendly here and there, and I missed that day-to-day stuff. But getting an offer from the English Premier League was just too good to refuse.
Yeah, so we know that at the moment getting back into club management is your immediate goal, but if the Scotland job came around again, would you give it serious consideration?
Absolutely. I think as things progress, you know, in your life, and you think about other jobs, not necessarily an international job, but then I've been out of work probably a year now, and if I've got to get back into football again, maybe through the international side of things. But Gordon Strachan's doing a wonderful job there, so any Scots watching this, I'm not after your job, Gordon. honest.
And by the way, we hope that he doesn't do too good a job, because of course we're in the same qualifying group, of course, for the Euro campaign. One man in Scotland who has been making headlines is Dubliner John Daly. We met him and asked him about his move to Rangers.
Again, it was just a footballing decision, and like I said, I'd always thought through my time in Scotland that if I got the chance to play for Alex McLeish, I wanted to play for him. And you know, I think, like I said, once he made his intentions known, there was no other club I wanted to play for. So signing for Rangers was never an issue when it came to things off the park for me. It was all about football, and I'm, you know, delighted to have made that decision, and I'm, you know, delighted to be here.
It was a big decision for John. Obviously, you know, coming from where he did, and there's not been a lot of players from Southern Ireland played for Rangers, so it was obviously important that he wanted to do that. Fantastic that he did, because we obviously wanted him to come.
It was amazing, you know, the first game of the season, the unveiling of the flag from the year before, and the atmosphere was fantastic, and you know, I had all my family over for that game, and you know, they really enjoyed it, and you know, they got looked after so well. You know, the club were fantastic. I told them I think there was 6 or 7 of them came over, and you know, they put them up in a box, and you know, really looked after them really well. And you know, the only problem with that game was I missed a few sitters. So you know, my dad was over at the time, and he gave me a lot of stick for that game. And you know, that's a game I look back now, obviously, that he's gone, and wish I could have you know, maybe scored 1 or 2.
I've always been a fan of Big John. I knew he was a good lad, you know. You obviously do homework on players, and out with their footballing ability as well. We knew he was a smashing lad, and he would be a fantastic asset to us off the park as well as on it. So for us, it was an absolute no-brainer.
Obviously delighted to win the league, but I think it was 8 games to go. We wrapped it up, and you know, we've still got, you know, a lot of league games to play that we want to try and win the games, and you know, go the season unbeaten would be a fantastic achievement. I'm obviously enjoying my football and I'm enjoying playing for Rangers, and you know, I'm enjoying scoring goals and doing well at the club. And you know, if the opportunity came about, then great. You know, I'd be delighted. But it's not something that I've realistically looked at and thought about, to be honest. You know, there's a good squad of players there and a good pool of players, and you know, obviously, like I said, if they came and they asked me to come and represent the country, then I would be delighted. But I think, to be honest, I think that ship sailed. And you know, I used to go and watch Shelbourne as a kid with my dad, and you know, I remember watching them. So if I went anywhere in Ireland, it'd probably go to the team I used to watch when I was younger.
Yes, well, he certainly has had a very good season for Rangers, 17 goals in 25 league games, and he certainly has contributed a lot, and he's been very well accepted, Alex, by Rangers fans. But in the bigger picture about Scottish football, is there still an element of sectarianism there? Yeah,
there's definitely still undertones, and I think John summed it up. He said perfectly that it was about football. That's why he went to Rangers, and that's what it should be. And he's done a great job there. And I saw that first game as well. He missed about 4 or 5 sitters, but he was getting in the right positions. You knew he's a guy who was going to score goals for Rangers. I followed the Irish League for the last couple of years. A friend of mine worked with Limerick last year, Malcolm Thompson, great coach, and you know, he really enjoyed his spell out here. And there's been a lot of great players have come and done well in the UK from Ireland, the Irish League.
They certainly have. But you were Rangers manager. Did you ever get the impression while you were at the club in that capacity that there might have been maybe a reluctance to sign Irish players? Yeah,
there probably was, you know, years ago. I think that's changed now. And that's the proof. You know, signing John Daly is the proof of that. It's just about good players. Can they fit into your team? Can they fit into your system? Nothing to do with religion or bigotry. And great to see John doing so well and being accepted as he has been by the Rangers fans. That's really, really important.
Pat, you have experience of managing in Scotland and, of course, the Edinburgh derbies. How did you find it? What was your experience there?
Oh, well, experience at the club was fantastic, but like Alex says, there is that undercurrent is there all the time. You know, both are, particularly Glasgow. I don't think it's as volatile in Edinburgh as there is in Glasgow, but they're two massive clubs with two huge supports, and it's a way of life for a lot of people in Glasgow. It is, you know, sometimes their life, you know. So, but I think both clubs have tried to deal with it in a way. Probably, you know, it's probably taken away a little bit from certain games as well. The atmosphere is probably not as good, but it's a difficult situation for the clubs to deal with. But, you know, in John's point of view, he's gone there to play football. He's not interested in anything else. And I know from my own experience of playing with Linfield that, you know, it's just, as a player, you go to play. You don't think about what's going on off the park and what people have to say. And, you know, it's a good decision from his point of view. I did try to sign him for Hibs, but we couldn't match what Rangers were offering. So, but, you know, it's a good move from him. At his stage of his career, he's had a real good career up in Scotland, good goal scorer, had a great start for Rangers. And you know, he's looking where he's going to be maybe in a year or two. They're going to be back in the Premier League, and it'll be a fantastic move for him in the end.
Alex, certainly while you were at Birmingham and Villa, you had plenty of players, you signed plenty of Irish players, and you had other Irish players on your books. But was there any Irish player that you did attempt or consider signing while at Rangers?
Well, I think we spoke about Lee Carsley at one particular stage. Lee was coming to the end of his career in England, and you know, he would have fitted into the Scottish League so well because he still had a couple of years left in him, and I had him at Birmingham in my Birmingham days, but you know, for one reason or another we never went for him. He was probably still on high wages, and at that time Rangers were downscaling and trying to reduce wages as opposed to add to the wages, so that was a near miss, and you know, I could have set the precedent there.
You could have indeed. Tony, what's your view? I mean, lots of people love watching the Old Firm derbies and indeed other big derbies around the world. I mean, it's not the only one. I mean, what do you think is the attraction for fixtures like that?
Well, half it's the hype. I mean, it's, you know, no matter who's playing on either side, look at the great teams of both Celtic and Rangers down through the years. But even now today, if they were to draw each other in a cup, the stadium would be packed. There would be a huge occasion about it. I think it's definitely the hype that's involved and just the sense of history of both clubs. And I think, the sectarian issue still, but I think if you're looking at the occasion itself and just the passion that's involved in the game, it's very rare that you get that in football today. There's only very few matches and derbies that are played that you get that type of passion involved, and certainly Celtic Rangers is one of them.
We've just got a minute or so left, Alex. Just before we leave, as a former Scotland manager, I have to ask you about the meetings that are going to take place between Scotland and the Republic of Ireland in our group for the Euro qualifiers. I mean, how do you look at it?
Well, I was waiting on that question. Well, when I saw the draw, you know, I was watching it with great interest because Gordon Strachan's been on a good run. We've won some good games away from home, beat the Croatians at home. And then when I saw that last name getting pulled out of the hat, Republic of Ireland, I thought, it's a tough group. You know, even though there's 4 additions to the Euros this season, it's a tough group. And, you know, but at the same time, I think Martin O'Neill will be saying, whoa, a bit wary of Scotland, you know, and the resurgence that they've had.
OK, well, we certainly look forward to those fixtures, both at the Aviva and quite possibly at Celtic Park.